and the Boston Conservative. He began trading stocks in 2001 and learned the art of futures trading.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Goldstein from 10 Minute
My
Trades.
apologies, folks. I was having some technical difficulty here. So I'll go ahead and restart our introduction. So thank you, Dan, and great presentation. So we are going to keep the ball rolling and introduce our next presenter, who studied music at the Berklee College of Music and the Boston Conservatory. He began trading stocks in 2001 and learned the art of futures trading. He's been trading for over 20 years and is now considered an expert trader, teacher, and trader of the news. Here to present how to outperform professional traders in just 10 minutes a day is Lee Goldstein of 10minutetrades.com.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me okay? And can you hear the, can you see my screens all right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right, very good. So thanks for the nice introduction. AQ, this will be recorded.
Right, I do apologize, folks. I did have some technical difficulties here. Now, I do want to go ahead and continue with the introduction for our next presenter. Now, our next.
Okay, so I'm going to go. My name is Lee Goldstein. I think our host was having some problems over there, so I'm just going to start up with my presentation. We go through this all the time. Sometimes technology can get in the way, and it happens occasionally. So you just got to roll with
now,
it.
our next presenter, who studied music at the Berklee College of Music.
Okay. All right. I'm going to get started. So I hope you can see my charts and I hope you can hear me. So I'll get started. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director at 10 Minute Trades. And that's me. I'm a real person. I'm pretty excited to be here today. Normally, you know, we all tend to do, I shouldn't say all, but I usually tend to do a PowerPoint presentation and, you know, depending on the way I feel, sometimes I really don't like to be totally locked into the same thing over and over and over. And I really notice, I can see all the people that are here and I don't hardly know any of you. So I'm going to wing it a little bit more and try to be a little bit more interesting than just giving you a PowerPoint presentation. I would rather let you learn more about what we do at 10 Minute Trades and how we feel that you can learn to outperform the market without sitting in front of your computer for hours and hours. We're very, very different from the way most companies do their trading. And it's the real reason that I love trading. Just remember, please, that any of the trades that I show or discuss are for educational purposes, and it's possible to lose money trading futures. So please be careful, trade wisely. So what we do at 10 Minute Trades, it's called appointment-based trading. In the old days, it was called news trading. Event trading is what we call it now. And just to be very clear, because sometimes people get very confused and they think we're trading stocks or Forex, just to be out front, totally clear, we trade futures using the Ninja Trader platform. Okay, that's what our whole system is based around, and that's what we do. And when we call ourselves 10 Minute Trades, it's because we have a style of trading that's totally based on appointments, and we generate these specialized reports that tell us what to do when we get to the appointment that we make with the market. So in other words, in the old days, everybody tried to scare you to death and tell you not to trade the news because the news was dangerous. And we all know now that trading news or events, as long as you do things properly and you take the right amount of care, no one method of trading is necessarily more risky or quote unquote dangerous than another method. Trading the news is not dangerous. What used to be the reason that trading the news got such a bad reputation was because people didn't realize the effect that news had on the markets. So you'd be stuck in a discretionary trade, trading the ES, and you didn't realize that the GDP numbers were coming out and it could blow you out of a trade. And I really think that that's why people thought that news trading was dangerous, because we know for a fact that, in our trade room, we trade the news every week. And of course, you're going to have losing trades as well as plenty of winning trades, but there's no danger in trading news any more than there's trading any other discretionary method, in my opinion. That's what I truly believe. And the other thing that we hear all the time, and people worry about slippage, you're going to get killed with slippage, or the brokers are going to change the spreads. And the nice thing about futures is that the brokers aren't changing the spreads. Now, look, I don't want to lie to you and say the broker is your best friend, because they're not. You are your own best friend. And our approach is to empower you. Just like Dan said, they try to give you as many things that are non-proprietary as possible. The key is to empower yourself to put a little bit of time in, enough time to learn what you're doing, so that when you're trading, nothing is a surprise. I shouldn't say nothing, but most things aren't a surprise. There can be surprises, of course, in anything that you do, trading, driving your car to the bank, whatever. But you want to know what you're doing, so when there is a surprise, you can control the outcome as best as possible. So very simply, what we do is appointment-based trading. It's a time-based approach to the market. I don't have to spend hours and hours sitting in front of my computer all day waiting for setups to occur. I know on every Sunday, and all of our members know every Sunday, what our trading schedule is going to be for the week. And I'll show you very quickly what our schedule is for this week. I've already made the schedule just to give you an idea of how we work. Totally different than most other companies. I'm not that worried about what the Elliott wave is for this week on gold or oil. I'm not that worried about last week's high, last week's low. I'm more concerned about, for instance, on Tuesday, I'm going to be in my trade room at 9:30 trading CB Consumer Confidence and the Richmond Manufacturing Report. It's much more important to us. How did that report work the previous month? We're trading events, and we're trading events that occur over and over on a regular basis. So rather than looking for deep technical analysis, we're studying the reaction of the event and its previous reactions, say in the last 3 to 6 months. So we'll trade on Thursday, the 7-year note auction. Every Thursday, we trade natural gas. And some trades we trade live. If a report or an event is not behaving itself, is the words that we actually use. If a report is not generating profit on a regular basis, then we may take a break from that report and trade something else. So it's very different the way that we do it. And like I said before, all trading has risk, and appointment-based trading is no riskier than other forms of trading. So I'm sure that you're all sitting there. And please, if you want to ask a question while I'm talking, feel free. I'll try to answer the questions as I go rather than wait until the end. And then I will scroll through all your questions at the end as well. So appointment-based trades, news-based trades are triggered. Something causes the market to move at a certain time of day. You take a look at different categories that'll trigger these events. And one of the trigger categories are high impact economic reports, GDP, CPI, jobs reports. Even the natural gas report is a high impact economic report because it affects the price of natural gas. Like I said at the beginning, we trade natural gas futures. So we know that every Thursday at 10:30, that report's going to come out, and that's a trigger. It's going to trigger a move almost always in natural gas. And I'll show you some natural gas reports. Trigger category number 2 is there are earnings reports. Now, we don't do nearly as much with earnings as we do with other events. And that's because for us, if you think about what I said that we do, we trade at specific times. Earnings, they're very not tricky, but they're very inconsistent about what time they release their earnings. They don't release earnings at specific times. They'll just tell you before the market open, after the market open. So we trade a few earnings reports of the FANG stocks, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, or Alphabet, and a couple of others that move the NQ futures, because we actually use the NQ futures as a proxy for trading earnings. It's actually a very interesting way that we do it. That's trigger category number 2. And then trigger category number 3 might be end of day trades. It could be opening trades in the morning. It could be a trade between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. So Ed is asking me an alumni-based question. What do you do with your $200,000 student loan from your music degree when you're unable to get a job? You know, it's not funny, Ed. Musicians, all of my friends are going through terrible difficulty now because they can't tour until this world crisis is over. Musicians are truly struggling. So my heart goes out to all my musician friends who can't tour right now. For us, trading is a different way that you can fortunately work and try to make yourself an income on the side or a full-time income. For me, it's hard to believe. I didn't know what was going to happen when the world changed as it did. But what changed is, for us, were the markets. And we had to come up with other ideas to deal with the change in the markets. But I would say what we're seeing now is markets are returning back to a more normal state. Different indexes such as gold and Q have behaved very differently over the past year, in my opinion, than they did the previous year, especially when it comes to trading events. So even though I was categorizing 3 triggers, there are literally probably hundreds of triggers within the categories we talk about that trigger events that are tradable. And our method allows you to pick the events that fit your personal schedule. So we use popular and free calendars that are available to everyone to try and pick our trades. One of our favorite calendars is Forex Factory. And I'm sure most of you know Forex Factory. And basically, if you want to look for events, you just go to forexfactory.com, click on the calendar tab, and then you'll notice, and I'm just looking real quickly, let's go to next week because that's what really matters. You get a listing of all of the events that they think are going to move the markets in the upcoming week. And this is for Forex, for futures. It could be general discretionary trading as well. It's not just limited to futures. We pick and glean the best events from a variety of different calendars, and that's how we come up with our master calendar. So Forex Factory, we feel these days it's still the gold standard, although the incredibly interesting thing about the markets again in the past year is even the calendars have had a little bit of difficulty because so many reports that were totally reliable changed. I don't know if you remember, but a year ago or 9 months ago, there were Fed emergency rate changes. So the FOMC statement actually wasn't tradable for a couple of months because they had emergency announcements. So you want to be, if you're going to trade events, you want to be involved with people that have been doing it for a long time and that are aware of all of these little nuances in the event trading market. And that's what we specialize in. Our company's been in business trading events, news by appointment since 2014. So it goes back, that's a long time in this market. So many companies come and go, as we all know, very quickly. We are not here just to take your money. In fact, I'm barely even selling you anything today. I just want to give you access to what we feel is the key to our service, our daily reports. And I want to teach you a little bit about how you could find events and news to trade on your own if you don't know how to do it. So calendars are the key. Forex Factory happens to use this color code. But here's again why you want to be involved with people that know what they're doing. Natural gas is one of the most volatile reports I've ever traded in my life. And Forex Factory and all the calendars have it as their mild report. In other words, the darker this little box, the more volatile the report is. Preliminary GDP, for instance, which is trading Thursday, that's a quarterly report. It's going to be pretty volatile because the markets are looking at that type of data. But they are wrong when it comes to natural gas, and we know they're wrong. Natural gas is a very volatile report, so you want to be involved with people that know what they're doing. It's very important. That's true of any trading system. You want people, obviously, that are honest and that are trustworthy and are giving you information, not based on how much money they're going to make, but based on how much money you're going to make. To me, the most successful day that I ever have is a day when the people in our trade room make more money than me. That, to me, is the most successful day. And that tells me that the people that are learning from me are learning how to do things properly. So one calendar we use, Forex Factory. Another calendar that we use, investing.com. And let me get my reports back, my slideshow back on, because it blew me out, and I apologize. Investing.com is a second calendar that I think is awesome for another reason. What investing.com will do, and I hope it will get there. Hang on a sec. Let me bring it up with a different browser because it's not liking that browser. So investing.com, we use it every day because what they do is they show you the news result in real time, along with another calendar that we use. So bear with me. Here's investing.com. You go up top to news, then you go down to economic calendar, and then you can choose next week. And now I can scroll and look through all the events that are going to take place next week. So we go through these various events and we pick and choose from them. And that's how we find our methods and our trades that generate our reports. Now, I'm not going to show you Econoday, but you can go to Econoday. We go to financialjuice.com. And it's the main method that we use are the calendars that everybody has free access to. So how do you pick trades? The calendars use color codes. They use different levels of bars. Like, for instance, there's a website called FX Street. They have bars that they use. The longer and darker the bar might mean more volatility. And investing.com uses these little bulls, high impact, medium impact, and that's how we pick our trades. FX Street, as I was saying, they use colored bars. And again, what is most important is remember that these are a guide, but they're not always 100% accurate. And that's where experience, back testing, and common sense comes into play. Okay. Let me know for sure that you can all hear me, or at least a couple of you, because a couple of weird things happened on my computer. I just want to make sure that I'm being heard so that there isn't a problem. If a couple of you would just type in and let me know. Okay, good. Thank you very much. So why do the reports work? Why does the natural gas storage report work? Let me show you exactly why it works. And while we're doing this, because so many of you are new and I don't know so many of you, if you'd be kind enough, also type in where you're from and what you trade. And it's just for my own knowledge. I like to see who I'm speaking with, and then I can sometimes I can just do a better job for you. So why do these reports work? Let me show you a natural gas report and why it works, and then I'll show you what we do to generate the information to make this report work. So pretty recently, at the very end of the year, this whole year, natural gas has been one of our best behaving reports. And when I say best behaving, what I mean is we trade the actual natural gas futures, okay? And we trade with a bracket. So in other words, a couple of seconds before that natural gas news comes out, our software puts orders on the chart. And our daily reports tell you how to put the orders on your chart. In other words, we have an arrow that represents existing price. Investing.com on the lower right is showing us how much natural gas is in storage. Generally, with natural gas, what happens is that storage number comes out every Thursday. If there's a lot of gas in storage, this candle, which represents the price of natural gas, it'll shoot down and it'll pull me into the trade on the downside or the short side. If there's a lot of gas in storage, more than they expected. If more gas is being used than they expected, that often will cause the price to go up and we'll get pulled into a trade on the long side. So let's see what happened on this trade. Natural gas, as you can see, it exploded to the downside. Most probably, we will see that there was less gas used. I take it back. There was this was an interesting. Watch it shoot up to the opposite side, because that was actually the correct direction. That day there was actually less gas used, but we don't really always care, because sometimes you have to understand, sometimes the market will respond in the opposite way. There's no 100% result. In this particular case, natural gas exploded to the downside. The key for us is that we get a single direction move so that we can take advantage with our targets and get taken out of the trade, which is what happened here. We made $220 in 3 seconds because of the result from the natural gas news. It drove natural gas to the downside, allowing us to take our profit. We have a report that we generate, and that's what I'm here to explain today. We have a report that sets up a natural gas trade. Let me show you what that report looks like. We call these reports the daily market movers, okay? And a daily market mover, and that's what I'm here to offer to you today. I want the grand total of $27 from anybody that's in this room, because that's going to allow you to learn all about what we do as a company. For $27, we're going to send you these reports for 3 months. Every single report that we generate every week. So our natural gas reports show you how we are going to trade natural gas. We set up a bracket of 5 ticks. We have a specific time that we activate our trade. We have a certain amount of time that will allow to pass. If we're not filled, we'll cancel the trade. We have specific targets that we use as a baseline depending on how natural gas has been behaving over the past couple of weeks or maybe a month or two. And of course, we have a stop to keep you safe. Our daily report also has a little trade journal that explains the behavior of natural gas over the past 6 reports. And we'll get more into that as we go on. So why do the reports work? Let me show you another natural gas report. And I love the fact that you're all telling me what you're trading. So thank you very much. I am reading all your responses. I promise I'm paying attention. Another natural gas report, for instance, in January that we took. And this was a report that it's a very quick one. Our orders were put on our chart. The gas news came out. This was the first week of January. And you can see it was a little bit slower, but it popped up. It hit both my targets, took me out of the trade. That was less than 14 seconds. And now let's check what happened on the news. Now, see, sometimes you won't even know what happens on the news. In this particular instance, the news did not show up. Our trade was over before the news result came out. And the beauty of the way that we trade, and that's why we call ourselves 10-minute trades, it's actually rare that our trades will take more than a minute. As you can see, the natural gas news comes out, our orders were placed on the chart, and boom, it's going to go up, put me in the market. There's my 2 targets, and my targets take me out, and I had a profit of $150 in less than 15 seconds on that trade. Now, it would be silly and unfair for me to say that all of these trades work. You can have a losing trade. No one ever shows losing trades. I do. Let me show you a natural gas trade that cost me money. It didn't work because nothing works all the time. Don't get confused. I'm just shooting through my recording. This was February 4th, my birthday. I got stopped out on natural gas. It filled us to the short side, and then it reversed and went the opposite way, and I lost money on natural gas. Not every trade is going to work. But what I can do is I can predict that almost every single Thursday, natural gas is going to move and give us a very tradable possibility to make money. We also trade the oil storage report. I'll show you one of those. We have a very specific way, again, of trading the oil storage. We set up a bracket. These candles are oil, the price of oil. We set up a candle, and then if you watch, in this particular instance, oil shoots up. And that movement up, if we were trading what we call a breakout trade, that movement up would be a profitable breakout trade. Oil was responding to an 8 million barrel drawdown. In other words, a ton of oil was used that week, much more than expected. It caused the price of oil to burst upwards. That upward move is what we trade, and that upward move would have given us a $150 profit because that's the targets we use for the oil report. Let me see if I have that actual page, the screen, the real screenshot. This was a different week. It was later in January, January 27th. We made 10 ticks on the oil report. That was the winning candle. And we made $100. And literally, folks, those trades are over in seconds. Oil and gas, it's pretty rare to be sitting in a trade for more than a couple of seconds. So that's called event trading. We get the events from the calendars. We generate reports that help people to find these trades. We scour and scour the calendars, finding hundreds of these trades. So why am I here today? I'm really here because what I'd like to do is hand deliver you the best trades every week. Our company has spent years and thousands of hours researching, backtesting these appointment-based trades. And we've narrowed the field down from hundreds to just the top 1 to 3 trades of the day. And those are the trades that we focus on. So why are they the trades that are worthy of making the cut? It's because of what I said before. We're looking for the trades that allow us the highest chance of probability for success. Those we call the daily market movers. We have at least 4 days a week that we generate a 1-page report. It might have 3 or 4, 1 to 4, I should say, reports that we're going to trade. And here's what it looks like. For instance, a daily market mover that was pretty recent. Let me show you what they look like. We send these reports to our members, and the daily market mover has the name of the trigger that we got from the calendar, the ADP report, which is about 80% effective over the past 18 months that this report has been making money, even in the world crisis that we've been facing. We tell you what market I'm going to trade, what the level of risk is. I would probably raise the risk to a 3 now, just because the markets are more volatile. We have our trade setup right here. We have our trade journal. And then this area in the middle is a history of the trade, how many ticks it might have moved at its maximum over the past 18 months or at its minimum. So those are research information that you can look at, and it will give you an idea what the smallest move was, what the largest move was. And then this third category, which I find very important, shows the tick movement that week that natural gas moved. 95, I'm sorry, the ADP report in this case, 95 ticks in September this report moved. It was massive. 40 ticks in October. It's generally a very big report because it's a job-based report. So very interesting. Those are the reports that we send out to our members. And every daily market mover, as I just explained, it has the triggers, the historical performance, the risk level, all of the things that I just showed you, our trade journal. I gave you an example of the daily market movers. We put a tremendous amount of time and effort into them. In other words, one of the most important reports that we trade is the Thursday jobs number. The Friday US jobs report. The last Friday jobs report, this is what our report told me how to trade this event. The job numbers come out. They came out February 5th. I knew how I was going to trade it because I had studied the behavior of this event for the past 6 months. In other words, I don't have to study the high of the day or the low of the day. Now, it might burst to the high of the day, and that might be a great reversal point. I'm not saying we don't pay any attention to technical analysis, but our approach is less technical analysis, more event analysis. How should we set this trade up? How far can we expect that this event is going to move the market? What's going to make it safe? What should our stop be? All of those elements are the elements that our daily market mover report has. Now, here's one other thing that I think is vital to what we do. If you're aware and you get these reports every day and you don't want to trade events, but you're a discretionary trader, by getting our reports, you're being privy to what times of the day you might want to avoid the market if you're taking just a general discretionary trade. Now, if you're a discretionary trader who trades events, our reports are going to help you. But our reports are going to keep you safe if you're not aware of events that could ruin a discretionary trade. Here was last month's jobs report. I had a very specific way I decided to trade it because of the report's behavior. I was trading gold that month, and it worked exactly to plan. Now, obviously, every single trade doesn't work exactly to plan. This particular jobs report made me over $500 in 20 seconds. And I've lost $500 in 20 seconds on a jobs report as well. It's happened. But by studying events and going through this as carefully as possible, we're trying to trade the events that give us the best possibility for profit over and over. Now, a monthly subscription to these daily market movers, we call them DMMs, is normally $49 a month. And we believe they're worth every penny. But because we're here and we're doing this special promotion, we're offering 90 days of the daily market movers for an incredible deal. 90 days for just $27. And that's what I was saying my purpose was for being here today. It'll teach you about what we do because you can see the events that we're studying in the futures market. So for just $27, it's a value of $147 because if you take our regular price, 49 times 3, 140 equals 147. We're just charging 27 bucks. That's all I'm asking for, folks. $27 to learn about trading events, what events are important. It's a ridiculous 81% discount. So in order to take advantage of this, all you have to do is go to www.getdmmnow.com. I should probably write that in there for you. I'll write it in when we get to the end. GetDMMNow.com, because a couple other things I want to cover. This is not a subscription. We're not going to auto renew and charge your credit card. After 90 days, it's going to end. And the reason I'm here doing this is we hope that you're going to enjoy getting our report so much. You're going to want to learn more about us. You're going to want to visit our trade room. You're going to want to check out our software. I mean, we have a system that we do this on. But there are people that only get our reports. That's all they do. They enter their orders on their platforms. If you have a platform that has a dome, you can enter your orders on a platform and trade along with us. You can learn to do it in sim. Okay. And then after 90 days, if you don't enjoy what we've been sending you, you don't have to do anything and we will not charge you again. And that's the end of it. Do we ever include the micros? Absolutely, John. When the world crisis first began, the micros were the safest indexes to trade for a couple of months. And we were doing a lot of micro trades, the micro ES. Now, some of our members trade micro gold, John, but you have to be really careful about liquidity when you're trading events. You don't want to trade a micro that has such bad liquidity that it will damage your fills. Okay, so that's the key. Make sure that your liquidity is good. And the way that you can tell if your liquidity is good, when the markets are live, if you load your dome, okay, if you load your dome, you can see the numbers of orders that are sitting there in the market, and some people fake those orders and we all know that, but in general, it will still give you an honest appraisal of what the liquidity is, for instance, on micro gold, MGC, as opposed to GC. The liquidity on the new micro futures for the ES and NQ is very, very good and very tradable. And Matthew, we do trade the WASD report. In fact, the quarterly grain report, and it's quarterly, obviously, quarterly grain report. It's actually called the grain stocks report. We have not been stopped out on that report in 2 years, Matthew. So that's 8 reports in a row that we've traded the quarterly grain report successfully. Now, WASD, we got stopped out on WASD for the first time since I can remember. Last month. It was the first WASD report that we got stopped on. The WASD has been one of our most successful reports. It's been an awesome, awesome report. We've been really, really happy with it. So I can't believe I've spent almost all my time Does anybody have a couple of questions they'd like to ask me? I'd like to show you a couple of member screenshots because, like I said, the most important thing to me is not did I make money on that trade, but it's did you make money on that trade? And if I know that you're making money on the trade, then I know that the teaching that I'm doing in our trade room is successful. So let me send a message to everybody in the room here. This is, oops, wrong one. Hang on, folks. That's don't press that. That's our registration. So let me just copy the right form here, and I'll send you the right link. This is what it looks like if you go to our link, getdmmnow.com. Explains everything in the offer, okay? Our daily market movers reports for just $27. Getdmmnow.com is all you have to do. Very simple, very easy, not complicated. Let me put back my screens so you can see what we're doing. And I want to thank everybody for listening to my presentation. Do we have lessons on futures? So I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, LV. On our website, we have about, I'd say there's 8 quick start videos. Now, what I would say is this, because if you remember, when I first started, I said that we use NinjaTrader as our platform. They have a tremendous amount of short little videos that teach you how to use their platform. But we also show you, for instance, how we would set up our charts and how we use futures in our trades. So I wouldn't say that honestly we're teaching you futures 101, but we do a lot of education, especially in our trade room on futures. Thanks for putting my link up there because for some reason, my link is screwed up on my computer. But you can all see it. But in our trade room, we do an unbelievable amount of education. We often have free trade rooms also, so people can get a taste of what we're doing. And we have all sorts of deals and things, just like all the educational companies do. My goal is to teach people how to trade events. And the best way to get involved events is with our daily market movers. I don't think you can beat the deal for $27 for 90 days. Are there any other questions before I go? Is a great question. Eric, is there a minimum account size? Obviously, if you're going to trade micros, let me be honest, totally brutally honest. I would recommend a minimum account size, at least $5,000. I would prefer trading with $10,000. I think for any account, because if you have a bad trade, you don't want to be afraid to lose. The whole key with trading is your psychology. If your psychology is healthy and you're not worried about 1 or 2 losing trades, you will actually do better as a trader. So think in terms of maximum account size rather than minimum account size. You can do so much more in a bigger account than you can do in a smaller account. But I understand everybody has financial constraints. But yes, you can trade with a $2,500 account. In fact, the owner of our company, when he first started out, doubled his $2,500 account, and he has the broker statements to prove it. But I'm done. I really don't want to go over. I promised me 45 minutes. I want to thank Marie so much for inviting me. I know I heard Rory's voice out there. I want to say hi to Rory and stick around, please, to watch Mark Sachs and Right Line Trading. They're really good friends of ours. He's got a great system. Can you watch? Yes, you can watch us on YouTube. If you go to help@10minutetrades.com, help@10minutetrades.com, or even more important, just go to www.10minutetrades.com, www.10minutetrades.com. Sign up for our free weekly schedule also. You can come to our YouTube channel and stream for free. Check out our trade room. We do all sorts of stuff where we're not taking, our hand is not in your pocket. Let me just show you one thing, and then I'll go. That same jobs report that I made $520 on, Well, Mike, one of our members, made the same amount of money in his trading account. So that's the key. If you put the time in, and this is for any system, if you put the time in, do your homework, spend the time, you can learn to be a successful trader. But if you don't put the time in and you just want to follow somebody and you're not going to put the time in, it's never going to work. So put the time in, folks. It's worth it because you can learn and be successful at anything you do if you spend the time at it. So thank you. I don't know who unfortunately, I don't know who the host was because okay, it's Barry. So Barry, thank you so much for inviting me here today. And I want to thank you. So my name is Lee Goldstein, the trading director at 10 Minute Trades. And you can reach me at help@10minutetrades.com with any other questions. Thank you very much, everybody.